Master of Ceremonies for this afternoon's event. The presiding official for today's ceremony is Lieutenant Colonel Chad T. Gilbert, Assistant Director of Operations, 380th Space Control Squadron, Peterson Air Force Base, Colorado. The United States Air Force and the men and women of the 380th Space Control Squadron extend a warm welcome to the family and friends who have joined us today as we pay special tribute to Senior Master Sergeant Adam J. Gillard on the occasion of his retirement from the United States Air Force, culminating 20 years of honorable and faithful service to our nation. To the retiree, this ceremony is one of the most important events in their career. A formal ceremony is a courtesy that is offered to all retiring military members. Today's ceremony will pay respect not only to the retiree, but to the family, friends, and co-workers who have helped him succeed. Our retiree will leave with a tangible expression of our appreciation for their contribution to the Air Force and our great country. In this way, we articulate our assurance to Senior Gillard that he and Hartini will continue to be members of the United States Air Force and Blue Squadron's family in retirement. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the playing of the national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. We are honored and fortunate to have several distinguished guests here with us today. I ask that you will please hold your applause until all introductions have been announced. We extend a warm welcome to Senior Gillard's wife, Hartini, Senior Gillard's stepson, Elijah, and daughters, Gabriella and Liliana, Senior Gillard's mother, Donna Strope, Senior Gillard's father, Joseph Gillard, and his wife, Augusta, Senior Gillard's cousin, Dan Gillard, and his wife, Tarina, Senior Gillard's cousin, Renee Roybal, and her husband, Jean, Senior Gillard's friends, Charlie and Diane Yell, Chief Master Sergeant Robert W. Rogers, Senior Enlisted Advisor, North American Aerospace Defense Command, United States Northern Command, Lieutenant Colonel Jared W. Tipton, Commander, 380th Space Control Squadron, Crow Commander, number 32. Chief Master Sergeant Michael J. Greenwood, Senior Enlisted Leader, 380th Space Control Squadron, Crow Chief, number 4, and his wife, Tiffany. Colonel Michael Feltman, United States Air Force, retired. Chief Master Sergeant Aaron Williams, United States Air Force, retired. Crow Chief, number 3. Chief Master Sergeant Don Ledbetter, United States Air Force, retired. Senior Gillard's friend, Senior Master Sergeant Jose Torres, United States Air Force, retired, and his wife, Cressa. Senior Gilbert's friend, Senior Master Sergeant Brad Hovey, United States Air Force, retired. Senior Gilbert's friend, Master Sergeant Steve Martin, United States Air Force, retired. Senior Gilbert's friend, Master Sergeant Lacey Gearhart, United States Air Force, retired. Senior Gilbert's friend, Master Sergeant James Jernigan, United States Air Force, retired. Senior Gilbert's friend, Sergeant First Class Eric Sexton, United States Army, retired, and his wife, Christine. And Senior Gilbert's friend, Master Sergeant Brian Popham, United States Air Force, retired. And a thank you to all other commanders, chiefs, friends, and co-workers who have joined us today. Thank you for attending. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my pleasure to introduce the presiding official for today's ceremony, Lieutenant Colonel Chad Gilbert.
Wow, what a great venue. I don't think I've ever seen a retirement ceremony with couches before. So please don't fall asleep when I'm talking. Appreciate it. All right, first of all, some thank yous. Sergeant Gracie, Sergeant Tasak, VG, Sergeant Billy Gomez. I know you guys put a lot of work to put this together. And Sergeant Gilbert, thank you for that. Lieutenant Colonel Tipton, Chief Greenwood. Wow. Thanks for all the support you provided up to this point. Now the family. Sergeant Gilbert's dad, Joseph, his mom, Donna, thank you for coming out. And I'll have some more to say to you guys later. And then finally, Elijah, Gabby, Lily, thank you. And of course, Hart. I know you put a lot of work in putting this together, so thank you. So when I started putting together my thoughts about this retirement ceremony, a couple different things came to mind. In my experience, there's a couple different ways to talk about somebody with experience like Sergeant Gilbert. You could go through his reports and pick out some of the things he's done over the past 20 plus years. And I did that. I looked at some of them, some of the words that were used. Rare leader with diverse ops background. Extraordinary NCO. And I really like this one. Paradigm of leadership and mentorship. Yes. It struck a chord. The other way to do this is to talk about the person, right? Who Adam really is and what he stood for, and what he continues to stand for as he moves to that next chapter in his life. So I'm going to talk about the person. And you're going to hear it, because you'll also hear a lot about his accomplishments with the two decks we are presenting later. So, who is Adam? He's a leader, he's a mentor, he's a listener, to start. You start over. Okay. First, it's an absolute honor to be here today to celebrate your lifetime service as you move into this next chapter. We've had lots of talks over the years, over the past couple of years, lots of discussions. I won't say there hasn't been some yelling, mostly at me. But most importantly, we've had a lot of laughs, because whenever we had these difficult discussions, we'd always leave, on good terms. We'd always be laughing at the end of it. And what I've learned over this past couple of years of those discussions is how to take care of people. Most importantly, how to keep pushing until you find the right answer. You see, in the Air Force, we always say mission first. People always, right? I wish it was that easy. But too often it's mission first, and I don't have time for the people. Okay? And that's what Adam is all about. Pushing farther to find the right answer that satisfies the mission and takes care of the people. I've got two examples for you that hopefully exemplify some of the things he stood for. First, I'm sure most of you know, he deployed about a year ago down to CENTCOM. Picked up everything. Left for 6 months, went to CENTCOM as a senior master sergeant who was obviously close to retirement. So I asked him, why? Why'd you do that? If it was me, if I was within 2 years, within 1 year, I'm going to stay home, relax, just sort of float for the rest of my career. Not him. His response was, how can I tell these people to go down range, to leave their families, to leave their jobs, to leave their livelihoods, if I haven't done it myself, right? That takes a lot of guts, a lot of courage to do something like that. The second example, and this one was more contentious between the two of us, but Sergeant Gilbert's always big on resilience. And to put that in perspective, I did not know what resilience was until I came to the squadron. I still have a lot to learn about it, but I know through our talks, through your yelling at me, and I've come a lot closer. So he went out and found some resilience training. It was quite expensive, and you know how funding is in the Air Force, non-existent, right? So my first answer, before we even got to commander, was no. We don't have money for this. We need to spend our money on something else. Would that stop him? No, it didn't. He kept pushing, until we get to the end of the fiscal year. Lo and behold, Africa drops a bunch of money on us, and we're finally able to get that training. I know, as I said before, if it was me, I probably would have stopped about the first time somebody said no, but not Adam. He kept pushing because it was important. It's important to the health of the squadron, and it's important to the health, the mental health of the people. Bottom line is, when it's important, he doesn't give up. So, some of you probably know he's got a bit of a rough exterior. Sort of rough at times. Not a teddy bear, at least on the outside. And really, the Air Force builds us up this way. Builds all of us up this way. Because we have to have a tough exterior, or we're not going to make it. And the basic reason for that is when I screw up, when we screw up, when our people screw up, we have to take responsibility for that. And more importantly, we have to move on. That's why we've got that tough outer shell to be able to do that. If you don't have that shell, you're not going to make it. It also gives us the ability to tell people what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. Right? It's so easy for somebody, for me, somebody comes into my office, asks me a tough question. It's so easy for me to say, hey, you're doing a good job. That's what they want to hear. They leave the office. I get to go back to doing what I'm supposed to be doing. But Sergeant Gilbert, Sergeant Gilbert, he's got that tough exterior, and he's more than willing to give people, to tell them what they need to know. Definitely not afraid to tell people what they need to know. Tell me what I needed to know. Yeah. So that's Adam in person, right? That's what we are here to celebrate. Is that career he's forged. And of course, when you do peel away that rough exterior, he really is a teddy bear. So the real reason we're here, Hart, Elijah, Gabby, Lily, Donna, Joseph, we're here for you guys. to recognize the sacrifices you guys have given up over these past 20 years. How many birthdays have you missed? How many family gatherings? And it isn't just deployment, it isn't just TDY, it's that late night phone call when one of the members calls up and says, hey, I've got a problem. And he's the one who's willing to help, right? He's the go-to guy. So, on behalf of the United States, the Air Force, I thank you. So, today, the Air Force is losing a tremendous senior master sergeant. But what we are gaining is it's a legacy, one that will continue on to all people he's affected over the years, all those hard discussions he's had, and all that resilience training he's made me purchase. So again, thank you all, Sergeant Gilbert, thank you again for making the Air Force better, making this a better place. Okay, see, read some decks.
Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel Gilbert. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the presentation of deployment and retirement medals to Senior Master Sergeant Gilbert. Attention to orders. To all who shall see these presents, greeting. This is to certify that the President of the United States of America, authorized by Executive Order 16 January 1969, has awarded the Meritorious Service Medal, 2nd Oak Leaf Cluster, to Senior Master Sergeant Adam J. Gilbert for outstanding achievement, 17 January 2021 to 31 July 2021. Senior Master Sergeant Adam J. Gilbert distinguished himself by outstanding achievement as Superintendent, 16th Expeditionary Space Control Flight Bravo, Al Udeid Air Base, Qatar. During this period, Sergeant Gilbert was responsible for 11 bounty hunter defensive space control operators and maintenance personnel, championing his crews as they supported 5 combatant commanders and monitored 167 satellite signals daily for 7,769 combat sorties, providing 2,340 hours of electromagnetic interference resolution in support of Operations Inherent Resolve and Freedom Sentinel. Furthermore, Sergeant Gilbert was entrusted with the maintenance and sustainment of $26 million in operational equipment within the Silent Sentry compound for 5 joint mission partners and 6 unique space assets, ensuring remote systems retain full operational capability. Moreover, Sergeant Gilbert invigorated an urgent operational need for Bounty Hunter 2.0 by exposing advanced enemy tactics while also identifying weapon system shortfalls, ultimately garnering the endorsement of the Combined Forces Air Component Commander. Finally, Sergeant Gilbert showed selfless dedication to the IUD personnel by participating as a senior non-commissioned officer mentor for the Community Outreach Private Organization, as well as facilitating 13 hours of leadership development discussions for 60 young airmen. The singular, distinctive accomplishments of Sergeant Gilbert reflect credit upon himself and the United States Air Force. Attention to orders. Senior Master Sergeant Adam J. Gilbert distinguished himself in the performance of outstanding service to the United States while assigned to the 380th Space Control Squadron, Peterson Air Force Base, Colorado. Sergeant Gilbert's professional expertise led to the acquisition of a $25,000 consolidated toolkit utilized to implement a $1 million equipment suite enabling training for 6 Air Force specialty codes and 134 members. Additionally, he was instrumental in executing the first ever live fire training exercise that synchronized defensive and offensive space control units, resulting in the test and validation of 4 new weapon system tactics, techniques, and procedures, contributing to being awarded the Unit Senior Non-Commissioned Officer of the Year. Sergeant Gilbert's mentorship led to the success of the United States Indo-Pacific Command Advanced Operational Node by successfully installing the equipment grounding grid and laying the foundation for a new area of operations. Finally, throughout a tumultuous pandemic environment, Sergeant Gilbert's ingenuity and resourcefulness were vital in creating a senior leader communications link, enabling mission essential functions, accomplishing subject matter expert training for 30 personnel, ensuring assumption of initial operational capability, and coordinating a $120,000 contract to support advanced training. The singular distinctive accomplishments of Sergeant Gilbert culminated a distinguished career in the service of his country and will reflect great credit upon himself and the United States Air Force. Lieutenant Colonel Gilbert will now retire Senior Master Sergeant Adam Gilbert. Lieutenant Colonel Gilbert, permission to publish the order?
Publish the order.
Attention to orders. Reserve Order Alpha Alpha 0018. Senior Master Sergeant Adam J. Gillard. You are relieved from your present reserve assignment and retired. Effective 1 May 2022 per Air Force Instruction 36-2303 and Title 10, United States Code, Section 8914, and the grade of Senior Master Sergeant. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Lieutenant Colonel Gilbert will now present Senior Master Sergeant Gilbert the Certificate of Retirement, which honors him for over 20 years of dedicated service. Certificate of Retirement from the Armed Forces of the United States of America. To all who shall see these presents, greeting. This is to certify that Senior Master Sergeant Adam J. Gillard, having served faithfully and honorably, was retired from the United States Air Force on the first day of May of the year 2022. Signed, General Charles Q. Brown, Jr., Chief of Staff, United States Air Force, and Lieutenant General Richard Scobie, Chief of Air Force Reserve. Lieutenant Colonel Gilbert will now present Senior Master Sergeant Gillard the Certificate of Appreciation from the President of the United States. The certificate reads, I extend my personal gratitude and the sincere appreciation of a grateful nation to you and your patriotic service to our country. Your bravery and dedication in our armed forces helped protect your fellow Americans during a critical moment in our history and contributed to a world of greater security and growing prosperity. Your devotion to duty, honor, and country, in keeping with the long traditions of the finest military in the world, embodied the American ideal of selfless service. Our nation owes you an incredible debt. Your commitment and the example you set will inspire future generations to serve with pride and to keep our country secure. You represent the best of our nation, and I join our fellow Americans in saluting your honorable service. I wish you happiness and success in your next chapter. Signed, President J.R. Biden, Commander-in-Chief. Every retiree receives a special retirement pin as a memento of their active duty service. At this time, Mrs. Gillard, will you please come forward and place this pin on Senior Master Sergeant Gillard's lapel to symbolize the transition from active duty to retired status. honored with a certificate of appreciation from the United States Air Force. The certificate reads, "In grateful appreciation, the United States Air Force presents this certificate of recognition to Hart Gilbert for the commitment and numerous contributions that made positive impacts to the nation's defense. Thank you for the support which gave strength and purpose to your spouse's service. Signed, General Charles Q. Brown, Jr., Chief of Staff, United States Air Force, and Lieutenant General Richard Scobie, Chief of Air Force Reserve." Relax out. Not Ladies and gentlemen, we now have a special flag presentation in honor of Senior Gilbert's 20 years of service to our great nation. For more than 200 years, the American flag has been the symbol of our nation's unity, as well as a source of pride and inspiration for millions of citizens. Born on June 14, 1777, the Second Continental Congress determined that the flag of the United States be 13 stripes, alternating between 7 red and 6 white, and that the Union be 13 stars, white in a blue field representing a new constellation. Between 1777 and 1960, the shape and design of the flag evolved into the flag presented before you today. The 13 horizontal stripes represent the original 13 colonies, while the stars represent the 50 states of the Union. The colors of the flag are symbolic as well. Red symbolizes hardiness and valor. White signifies purity and innocence. And blue represents vigilance, perseverance, and justice. Traditionally a symbol of liberty, the American flag has carried the message of freedom and inspired Americans both at home and abroad. In 1814, Francis Scott Key was so moved at seeing the stars and stripes waving after the British shelling of Baltimore's Fort McHenry that he wrote the words to the Star-Spangled Banner. In 1892, the flag inspired Francis Bellamy to write the Pledge of Allegiance, our most famous flag salute and patriotic oath. In July 1969, the American flag was flown in space when Neil Armstrong planted it on the surface of the moon. Today, our flag flies on constellations of Air Force satellites that circle our globe and on the fin flash of our aircraft in harm's way in every corner of the world. Indeed, it flies in the heart of every airman who serves our great nation. The sun never sets on our U.S. Air Force, nor the flag we so proudly cherish. Since 1776, no generation of Americans has been spared the responsibility of defending freedom. Today, airmen remain committed to preserving the freedom that others won for us for generations to come. By displaying the flag and giving it a distinctive fold, we show respect to the flag and express our gratitude to those individuals who fought and continue to fight for our freedom, at home and abroad, since the dawn of the 20th century. Airmen have proudly flown the flag in every major conflict on lands and skies around the world. It is their responsibility and our responsibility to continue to protect and preserve the rights, privileges, and freedoms that we as Americans enjoy every day. The United States flag represents who we are. It stands for the freedom we shall share and the pride and patriotism we feel for our country. We cherish its legacy as a beacon of hope to one and all. Long may it wave.
Gilbert, on behalf of the 380th Space Patrol Squadron, your friends and your family, I present this flag in recognition of your 20 years of faithful service with the United States Air Force.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, the 380th Space Control Squadron would like to present Senior Gilbert with a few gifts. Lieutenant Colonel Kipton will now present a gift on behalf of the 380th Space Control Squadron.
Yeah, you put a lot into that. I got a girl with yesterday too, so just a few words, and Bill Colonel Gilbert, you did a great job, Jeff. Covering everything Adam means to us in the creative. One thing creative is known for is producing exceptional and enlisted leaders, strong leaders. Adam has always knuckled down and drove on. It's part of that legacy, as you mentioned, it's part of that legacy. You are. And that legacy goes all the way back to the Doom of the Raiders. So now you're part of that legacy. So on behalf of the creative, this beautiful flag with the crow, now yours to hang on your wall, like you're choosing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Colonel Kipton. And now, actually in a moment, Tech Sergeant Caddisett will present a gift on behalf of the men and women of the Maintenance Assurance Division of the 380th Space Control Squadron.
We have a shadow box. That's got a lot in here after 20
Gilbert on behalf of the men and women of Blue Squadron. Yeah.
Yeah, we love you, brother, very, very much. Yeah, listen, safety brief. Senior, sincerely, you've been an inspiration to all of us. From the bottom of our heart, your timeless dedication, untold hours, and commitment to your people. You've sacrificed enormously from your family and from your own personal time to just relax, take a break for a little bit. So we gave you some toys to play with, help you relax a little bit. And if you look inside your quiver, you'll find a gift certificate to go out and get a real archery set, so you can sort of explore the finer things in your own personal life. All right? Yeah, have a good one.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct pleasure to present to you Senior Master Sergeant Adam J. Gilbert, United States Air Force, retired.
Good chance I'm going to spill that water, but let that ride. Few things up front. Thank you, Colonel Tipton, for allowing us to cut out and get over here and do this for us. Hart for putting this thing together. Against my wishes and better judgment, she made the right decision. Thank you. You know, when they read those decorations a little bit ago, in my position, I got the incredible, fortunate aspect of just taking credit for other people's work. All that stuff that they read, that was those folks here in the audience watching online. I actually put my name on the bottom of the paper. You guys are absolutely amazing. Thank you all for your support. Jose last night told me to write note cards and got things written down so I could. So this morning I was writing some things down and promptly lost those note cards. Here we are. Man, where does time go? I can unequivocally say that the person that enlisted 20 years ago would not recognize the person standing in front of you. It is roasting up here. I enlisted right after September 11th. There was a moment I was driving from my dad's house over to my grandma's house, and it's a short drive, 3 miles, 1 mile, something like that. And I had that epiphany that I got to join the Air Force, and like the hair stood up on the back of my neck. Like I knew that's what I got to do. It also could have been the foreign substances coursing through my body at the time, but we'll leave that one. I took it as divine intervention. So I needed to go serve my nation. I needed to answer that call. So I enlisted. Didn't know what I wanted to do. Ta-da! 20 years later, still don't know what I want to do. I came in open electronics. I talked to the recruiter. He comes back and says, "Hey man, you're on probation. I can't send you basic training." Right about that. There's some good stories could come up later tonight. So I had to wait a little bit longer, and then November came around. Probation expired, and
a major called him down in Georgia, and he's like, we need you, we like your scores, we want you, get your shit together. like stop doing all the stupid stuff, do not get in trouble again, or you're gone. Yes, sir. In my head, I'm thinking, I just won't get caught. We're just leaving it at that. That's a good compromise, just don't get caught. So I go to basic, I go to tech school. I land in North Carolina, Seymour Johnson, where retired Chief Ledbetter, I'm not sure where he disappeared to, right there. The very first supervisor as a Staff Sergeant Ledbetter. Like he said, this is his fault. And there was a moment that back in the day, airmen actually cleaned the bathrooms, the floors, everything like that. And I was sweeping the floors up in scheduling. I think you were up in scheduling at the time too. And I was sweeping the floor, and I look over at the TV, and there's the Baghdad skyline with some fireworks going on, and we just started shocking off. And the V, this outstanding unit, is from that. Seymour sent up 28 for 28 jets, put their bombs within 9 feet of where they were going, and that all started, in the PML lab, or calibration lab, excuse me. That was a big deal. A couple days later, maybe a week later or so, they pulled all the airmen in, and they're like, we need somebody to go. You're not going for PML, we don't know where you're going, we just need somebody to go. And I did not raise my hand. It was real at that point, we just invaded a second country, did not raise my hand. The more senior airman, he was the more seasoned guy of us, he raised his hand and said, if nobody else wants to go, I'll go. And this is a guy, he's married, just had his second kid, and 3 seconds of thinking, I can't let this guy go. And I raised my hand. Then I ended up in Kyrgyzstan, which was an absolute blast. Again, great stories to come later tonight. I got really fortunate with that. It met incredible people if they called me right now, I'd walk off the stage and go help them. Amazing people I met over there in the Air Force and the local nationals. They were all incredible. After that, kicked around North Carolina for a while. Got sick of that scene there. Raised my hand again, and sent me to Korea. Air Force, will do. Out the door to Korea, and after that, followed on to Germany. So, in that first enlistment there, I went from turning 20 a week before September 11th in Bay City, Michigan, 21 in Biloxi, Mississippi, 22 in Kyrgyzstan, 23 in North Carolina, 24 in Korea, 25 in Germany. God knows where I was, 26, 27. Somewhere in Europe, I don't know. But I got to see a lot, I got to do a lot. Got to continue meeting amazing people, experiencing things that most folks can never even dream of. Quiet down up there. When I got to Germany, I was having a wrist surgery and things like that, so they were looking for somebody to go work up at the squadron. And again, I was having wrist surgery, wasn't going to be that useful in the lab, so raised my hand again. I was like, hey, I'll go work at the squadron. And I got to work with that man right there, Steve Martin, Tech Sergeant Steve Martin at the time. And he tried to teach me a lesson. And I'm not talking about the LLC for being hilarious. I was right, he tried to give me an LLC on something. Again, good story. But he tried to teach me a lesson one day. We had somewhere to be, we had to go brief a general on something. And he's like, all right, let's go. And I'm like, we've got 30 minutes. Like there's no time to go right now. Like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. We'll get in the car, we'll get there for the meeting, we'll come back, keep working. And then Technical Sergeant Steve Martin pulled my ID out of my computer and made Staff Sergeant Gilbert take a walk. And we walked to the meeting. It's about 20-minute walk there. And on the walk, he told me, like, You can do 100 tasks today, and tomorrow there's going to be another 100 tasks to do. You need to take care of yourself. You cannot have burnout. Because at the pace that you're going now, you will burn out. Again, I know everything. Funny side note, when I was like 13, my dad was my baseball coach, and he told me I was the most difficult kid to coach. I was stubborn and wouldn't listen. That's going to be a prevailing theme here. So, again, he planted the seed, and I didn't listen. I was always a go-to person. I was always a strong worker. I would maintenance professionals, support professionals, things like that. Never like the airman of the quarter, because I didn't have the whole airman concept. Because like that final rule would be like, ball charges dropped. You cannot serve on So, and this didn't carry weight, on the package. So, I didn't learn that lesson. Got a couple of chips put on my shoulder by myself, leaving Germany and things like that, and, decided to separate active duty. Been around the world a couple times. I was just ready to, move on with my life. My plan was I had my Jeep paid off, I had a tent, I had a sleeping bag. My brother lived in Arizona, I was just going to go live in the desert and fucking visit him. Go visit him occasionally, and just, be a homeless guy in the mountains. So it was a great plan, it was a solid plan. And then part of processing is you got to go talk to that in-service recruiter. Those sons of bitches. But be a reservist, like 2 days a month, 2 weeks a year. Piece of cake, you get gas money. I'll need a monthly shower, so okay. So now that was the plan. And then accidentally fell in love, like out of nowhere.
Same here.
Yeah. I moved. I talked to the crew. I get into a unit down in Arizona, and then I have Hart for 2 kids. Now I'm a stepdad. Totally immature and ill prepared for that. Like very selfish person. A lot of growing pains there. Luckily, the unit that we went to had a lot of work for me to do. So Brad Hubby over there, he has a saying like, don't care which bucket of water you pick up, just pick up a bucket of water and move it. And so you start grabbing things. You start making a name for yourself. Learn how to be a SATCOM maintainer there. Learn how to be a SATCOM operator there. Got my taste for project management, which you guys know. I like to do now. Just grabbing whatever I could. Keep moving forward, just to stay on orders and support a family. And then 2011 timeframe. AGR position started coming down, and Colonel Bellman back there. I won't call you Michael. He pulled me aside and said, "Hey, I'm gonna put you in a master sergeant. I think you got it. I think you can be a good master sergeant." So cool, thank you, appreciate it. Jose over here, he was we got to know about the same time. We were peers, friends, and yeah, he outranked me at the time, and I got put over top of him. And it took a couple of days, and then we started talking about it. And that man was genuinely happy for me. Like, he was proud of me. And in this environment where things are very contentious, very, there's a lot of shady politics that go on anywhere, really, backstabbing, whatever. But he had my back the whole way. He was the first one to support me, and when I made a decision, he led the way for me, and he showed me how to act when your friends succeed. And my promotion ceremony came, And I stood up on a stage, similar to this, Colonel Putman was, doing it, and I gave a shitty, pretentious blast to people. I stood up here because clearly I know it all. And I told people what my expectations were. I threw some punches, how people let me down. And like Colonel Gilbert mentioned earlier, a leader will tell you when you mess up, and Colonel Feldman did that. He pulled me in and he said, "Shame on you. You threw low punches out of a bully pulpit to make a point. That's not what I expect out of a senior, and so that's not why I gave you that strike." Again, me being my righteous self, did not learn that lesson. Cool, track it, sir. I stand by what I said. And, some airmen and NCOs, they were proud of me for saying it. Whatever, I was wrong. Straight up. It's not how the senior NCO behaves. So I go a couple more years there. Again, put more chips on my shoulder. Got burnt out there. Decided to move up here to Colorado, come to the 380th, and as soon as I got the notification that I got this position up here, I got a lengthy email about in computer screen terms, three solid paragraphs long from a Sergeant Ross Wolfine. He was a wordy fellow. Yeah, he gave me the history of Colorado Springs, really. He was my sponsor, and I come up here and I meet him, and I was with him every day. Got really close with him. My first UTA was a Christmas party, and his game plan was, get hammered drunk at the Christmas party, sleep under his desk, go to work the next day. Solid plan. And we had a spare bedroom, and I was like, no, buddy, you're coming home with me, and you'll crash my couch in the morning. We'll crash in the bed, and in the morning we'll get bagels, coffee for the folks, and everything like that. And so we go home, tie a couple on, and we stand in my garage, like literally stand in my garage and talk for another 2 to 3 hours till way too late. And wherever Lily is, and Lily at the time came out and joined us, and I held her for that 2-3 hours, just talking, and it was a fabulous conversation. But if you ever wonder where dad's strength comes from, it's from carrying a kid for 3-4 hours at a time, 30-pound bowling ball. A couple months go by, and talking with him, he needed a change of pace, he needed a change of scenery, and I started talking to him about getting him down to Arizona. And, I was like, hey, there's a ton of work down here, but like they need people like you down there. I'm going to get you in down there. And we started putting the packaging for him and things like that. He was putting other packages in and around town here. And on Friday afternoon, he got the notification that he didn't get picked up for a position. And I heard it in his voice, and I turned around and looked at him, and I saw his face. And you see the rejection on him. And so I stopped what I was doing. I wanted to talk to him. We were laughing and joking, telling him, hey, I'm going to get you in Arizona. This wasn't the plan. This wasn't the position for you. I need you out of here. I need you to go get some breath other places and keep developing your skill set. And ended up cutting him loose a little bit early after he got our whole heat system up for red flag and stuff like that. Again, phenomenal worker. And let him go early, go to the gym, because that was his stress relief. Don't know why. I left a couple hours later, and on the way out that building, I thought to myself, I need to call him tomorrow. I need to follow up on him. The next day, Saturday, 4 kids and a wife, just didn't call him, didn't even think about it. He killed himself that night. I can legally do this now for all those retired folks out there. I can legally put my hands in my pockets now. why did I make the phone call? 99 times out of 100, I can tell myself it wasn't my fault. It was his decision. That's the way it went. But that one time out of 100, it would usually come at night. You're just alone. And started self-medicating. He was just a trigger event. He wasn't the sole purpose. I've been carrying baggage for years before I joined the military. I've been carrying a lot of stuff. So I would drink, take pills, whatever I could do to numb the pain. I wake up in the morning, put on my costume, go to work, be okay, put the facade on. I'd get home, I'd be short, angry, lack of patience. Yeah, he still tries to teach me patience. I'm still trying to learn that lesson too. And I just spiraled. That's just where it is. I spiraled. One day coming back from Tucson, stopped in Phoenix, watched the Lions game. Terrible call by the ref. Not the point of the story, but I'm just saying. Did a lot of way too much self-medication. And tried to drive to Albuquerque. And I got to Albuquerque. It was about 6 hours. Terrible life choice, but here we are. By something I don't understand, I got to the side of the road. I called Hart and broke down. I was just done. Ended up at a Marriott. Didn't have a cell phone charger, so my phone died. So I was in a dark room by myself with my wounded mind. And every option was on the table. For whatever reason, my heart kept beating. Somebody grab me a tissue. Like I'm getting point of the story is ask for help. Raise your hand. I didn't realize it, but I raised my hand. That phone call that I made to Hart the night before, but by the time I got to my car the next day, charged my phone, got it, enough to give her a call. That call the day before was I raised my hand to her and said I need help. And she called from the Calvary. She called my brother, got him on a plane from Phoenix to Albuquerque. He came, picked me up. He got in the car and he's like, "What the hell's going on?" I was like, "She didn't tell you anything? You just said you needed me." And he was there. "Sir, thank you." Yeah, no questions asked. He needed me, or I needed him, and he was there for me. And then for the next 6 hours, we drove back to our home up here in Colorado Springs, and I just unpacked everything. We went to some weird places. And when I finally got home to my family, I went to bed and I slept. It was the first time I slept in at least 3 days, probably that week leading up to there, I probably had 3 hours total sleep, and 20-minute increments throughout the week. It was, I slept. And then I woke up the next day and my whole view on the world was changed. All those seeds that were planted through my life, it took a lot of rain, but they started to sprout. I started to see things differently. I always looked at the next task. There's no time to focus on me. I had another task to do. I had another task to do. I had to keep moving forward. And I flipped my way of thinking where you look at the task in front of you, and instead of focusing on that and all the ones behind it, you look at that task and then you look behind you at all you've accomplished and all the people that have helped you get there, and you ask for help. You reach out, raise your hand, delegate properly, and the biggest part of delegation is once they give you a product, you accept it, you don't micromanage, make them go back. Tip for some of the folks. But you delegate, you trust them, and you keep moving forward, but you build off that mountain of work that you've already done, that you've already accomplished. And it's completely changed how I handle myself, how I handle dealing with my folks. It's saved my life, saved my marriage. We've had some hard times. So now, I'm standing up here in front of you, a little bit older, a little less wise, but just keep raising your hand. Raise your hand to experience the stuff around you, to enjoy the people around you. When it gets too much, raise your hand and ask for help. There's going to come a time. So, that was the easy part. Now to my family. There's nothing I'm more proud of on this uniform than this tag right here. I've always told my airmen, don't worry about your Air Force name tape. Take care of this name tape. You do this one proud. The Air Force inherently is going to be proud of you. Clearly, I haven't always done that, but I think given the whole body of work, I think you guys can have it. And I carry the sword of pride and the stroke name with me too. To my kids, wherever Lily's at, Elijah always gets mad when I don't give him flowers, so I got him a cactus or a succulent. And I got him one that wasn't specifically pokey, because the first thing he did is just poke me. Gabby got you some flowers. Wherever Lily's at, you guys fill her in later. I'm sorry I haven't always been there for you. You guys are my absolute world. I love you. You're going to be sick of me real soon. But thank you for putting up with me and loving me. That one. Quick sidebar. For those of you that know me, you know I love music. I love lyrics and things like that. And throughout this whole speech, to kind of keep me on track and points, I've been quoting the Cody Jinks songs. So if you guys don't know, look them up. Phenomenal singer-songwriter. And it just kind of helped me keep track of what my thoughts were here. But for my wife, I'm going to straight up plagiarize them. Because there are no words that can say how much I need you. You made this life worth living, and all I'm worth is this promise that I made to you beside you just like you stood beside me. Thank you. Those last 5 words are mine. All right, so in a short while, I'm going to take this uniform off for the last time. It's going to suck. I think we've all kind of got Stockholm Syndrome. We love the punishment. We love the torture. It's going to be sad. Because I'm going to take this uniform off and I'm going to go work somewhere. Meet more great people, do more great things, whatever. But they're not going to be the same kind of crazy as me. You guys have been absolutely phenomenal. It's been an honor to serve with you. It's been a pleasure most of the time. But I'm extremely proud to call these Marines my brothers and sisters and people. Thank you. Are there any questions? Now, once this
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's ceremony. We would like to wish Senior Gilbert and his family the very best. All are invited to join us for cake and refreshments after the ceremony. Please stand and remain at attention during the playing of the Air Force song and the departure of the official party.